Next we come to the borders, and before we start we're going to do a double check over all the edges. I want you to make sure that all your threads are stitched in at the back so that you don't have any thread at the back here that could get caught up with the border stitch. And by the edges I mean have a look at each edge to make sure that you've got the right line. For example, here, as I mentioned in the last video, I've missed out a line of Hungarian grounding, so I'm going to put that in now. That's fairly easy to put in. I'm going to have a look at this one here. There looks to be a little bit of a stitch missing just up here, so I'm going to have a look at that and maybe add some stitches and basically just check around to make sure that I've covered the canvas on both the area and the edges. There's a little bit here, look, I've got to put in. And then I'm going to show you the border stitch. This is the final version, I think. I've completed my patching up. I found a little bit that I needed to do on this edge here. I put a couple of horizontal stitches up here, and I've done my corner on my leaf stitch, and you saw me start my Hungarian grounding. So there was quite a bit to check, and I've gone around literally each edge. And also within the pattern, if you find that you can see some canvas, you might want to just put an extra stitch in here, for example, maybe. And we can put some stitches in later on, but I think it's easier to do them when you can see without the border. And for the border, I've chosen a mid-brown crewel wool, just a bit darker than the brown silk. And each stitch is going to be a satin stitch with 2 strands. You can start anywhere really. I would do the inside bits before doing the outer edge, but let's just demonstrate on this bit here. So each stitch is going to come up and go down over 2 diagonal threads, and so wherever you come up you will already have a thread. And it's really difficult, well, not really difficult, but it can be a bit difficult to get the right hole on this edge here. So if you go down from where you ended up and go across, that'll be the right place. So go down and then across 1 and then over 2 diagonally. And that will ensure that you're in the right place. And this is going to take a while. And each edge will be slightly different dependent on the stitch that you are working with. For example, down here with the Hungarian grounding, you've got a stitch going all the way across. So you're almost going to be going underneath the horizontal edge to start your stitch. And when I get to one of those, I'll demonstrate that. So when you get to a junction, you can do your stitch over 3 threads so that you've covered the whole of that area there, and then just carry on. So you could go up or you could go down. And it just makes a tidy finish there. and so on. Let me show you another junction. So you go over 3 threads instead of 2. 1, 2, and I'm going to sneak one under the Romanian catching there, and then you can carry on in either direction. Just going over the 2 threads. So I've done my stitch across here, and now I'm going to go all the way across to the other block, and I'm going to go across 3. So across 3 threads diagonally, and that then allows me to go either up or down. Here's another junction. 1, 2, 3. Just go as far as you can in the same direction, which allows you then to continue either way. I'm just doing this little bit here, which is where the Hungarian grounding is, and you can see that you have to sort of nudge under that Hungarian grounding stitch, and I'm actually working the stitch the other way, so I'm working from the easiest hole to get into the one that you have to sneak under. So that's the way to do those. You'll find some are more difficult than others. And it just sneaks under like that. But it's easier than coming up this way. So do whichever is the easiest way, even if you have to change direction when you get to a new block. And you're going to have some little tent stitches at the end here to fill in, so do that before we do the outer edge. And that's what we're going to do next. And now to the outer edge, you're doing exactly the same thing, so taking it diagonally over 2 threads. I would always start so that you can work from the outside in. It's easier and you're not pulling any of your stitches out that you've previously worked. You can start anywhere, except that I wouldn't start at a corner. I'm going to work all the way down here and show you when I get to a corner. You'll find that you may have to fill in some little tent stitches here on the edge, that if you didn't do them when you were working the inside edges, so there might be a couple of little tent stitches here. Just put those in as you go. You don't need to go back and do them individually. You can see that my waist knot is here, so I'm working towards it, and I'm going to cut that off now because I'm nearly there, and I'll join you again at the corner. I've reached the corner, and that's my last stitch into that corner, and then I'm going to carry on and I'm doing 3 over 3 threads instead of 2. So, and then fill in over 2 and then over 1, your little tent stitch there at the corner, and then you can go back the other way, so back into the corner and you're away again. I'm going to do the opposite corner with you as well, so I'll just show you that. This opposite corner, I'm almost working in the other direction. Just keep going until you've got a stitch that goes into that corner, and then just carry on. And this is one of those edges where you have to just sneak your needle underneath to make sure you've got the complete pattern there. So just enjoy doing this final edging.